Hey y'all, this is Kat coming to you from my bedroom today. It's a bit of a gray, dreary day, so I thought I'd pick myself up by making a new video about some of the clothes and food considerations that I'll be making as I prepare to hike the Appalachian Trail. So starting off with the clothes, I'm going to talk about all the things that I have, some of the changes that I know I'm going to make, and some of the thoughts that are running around my head. So let's get started. Up here, some of you have probably already seen this hat if you've watched some of my other videos. This is my favorite beanie, my favorite hat that I have that I typically wear in the spring, sometimes in the fall and winter as I'm walking around or hiking around outside. This is a Love Your Melon beanie that my stepdad got for me this past Christmas and has really become my favorite hat that I wear. It probably isn't holding up all that well because I wear it so much, but it's nice and worn and you can see it's nice and floppy where it needs to be. I'm pretty sure that this is the beanie that I'll be taking with me initially on the Appalachian Trail. So starting off probably in March, it's gonna be cold, it's probably gonna be rainy, maybe even hit a little bit of snow. So I want to make sure that I have a good warm hat to bring with me. Love Your Melon beanie will likely be coming with me through some parts of the AT. However, for more of the summer months, I'm going to need a little bit of a different hat strategy, which is why I have my trusty trucker hats. And you can also see one behind me on the door over here, hanging out in my bedroom. I love a good trucker hat. I think they are great for hiking. This one in particular, my sister bought me as a present from REI during one of our many trips to REI, our local REI. So I do love this one. I'll probably end up taking this one with me on the trail. It's really great. It has, you know, the nice ventilated back portion there. It's great to be able to stick my bun or my ponytail through. My hair is really long, which also means it's really heavy. So to add that extra sort of support with a hat honestly does make a difference. I also like to try and keep the sun off my face as much as possible if I'm doing long hikes. Certainly I'll be bringing sunscreen with me, but it's also great to have that extra layer of protection. I do have prescription glasses that I will need to bring with me on the AT. So I've just brought out to show. I have my regular glasses here and my prescription sunglasses. My vision is not terrible, but that being said, I want to make sure that I don't miss a moment. So definitely I'm going to need to bring my glasses with me. I think it's nearsighted, so that means I can't see things that are super far away, like signs and things like that. So want to make sure I'm able to catch it all. The only consideration that I'm making around these frames that I have is that they're relatively expensive for glasses frames, and that's just how it worked out when I found frames that fit my face and worked well for me. I am definitely thinking about maybe trying to get some cheaper frames, some cheaper prescription glasses and sunglasses, so that if something happens to them, I'm not sad that I lost out on some more expensive items. So that's it from the head to the chin. Going down, let's talk about the top here. So I have a couple layers on. I'll start with this top layer, which is the current rain jacket that I typically wear as I'm walking around town or as I'm hiking. This is an REI Co-op rain jacket. It's just a simple standard. This is actually a men's. I have broad shoulders for a woman. So a lot of times for jackets, I will buy men's jackets just to make sure that I have all the room that I need to, you know, cross my arms, put my pack on, things like that, and I'm not restricted in any way. The other, you know, couple features that I love about this jacket, it does have a clip right here, sort of like a snap. So as I snap that together, I'm able to close my wrist in a little bit more, or I can unsnap this for, you know, a little bit more ventilation. So that's a really good feature that I like. I love the hood on this jacket. This hood is really deep. You can see, I can pull it over my nose. I really like that. I think it actually works really well with a hat. So typically if it's really raining hard, I'm gonna wear a hat and this so that it kind of streams down and the water will stream off of the rim of the hat or the brim of the cap. So really pretty good strategy that's worked for me so I don't get my whole entire face wet. This rain jacket does have pockets. So there's a couple pockets here. They don't have zips, however. So there's almost no zippers on this entire jacket. There's also no pit zips. So those are some features that I am looking for. I will likely replace this with something else. And I'll try to put up in the video a couple of my thoughts, my initial research thoughts around a rain jacket, but definitely looking for something with a little bit more robust of pockets. Some pit zips would be fabulous. I would really like to have that. The only thing is, this is super long. It comes down, hopefully you can see, right below the end of my butt. I like this in a rain jacket, so I might continue to buy sizes up. This is clearly too big for me, but I do like that it comes down so long. I can also fit another layer under that, and great segue to my puffy jacket. So I'll unzip this. This is the puffy that I currently wear. Again, walking around town, hiking, anything like that. I use this every day in the winter. This is also an REI co-op jacket. It's also a men's jacket. Again, you can see, like, if I didn't have a men's, I probably would have some motion restriction there. So want to make sure I have full mobility. Again, kind of a basic jacket, but it works for what it needs to do. It is down. I'll try to put the fill in the video, but it is a down jacket. It's held up pretty well. Again, use it every single day, multiple times a day. Has a good zipper, really sturdy zipper. It does have zip pockets. So these pockets on the side here, these do zip, and it has a hood as well. So from a basic, puffy perspective, I genuinely like this jacket. However, there are some additional considerations that I might make. So this may get switched out for the actual Appalachian Trail thru hike. Another thing to consider for actually all of my clothes is that I am on a bit of a fitness journey, a weight loss journey, if you will. So while this jacket fits pretty well today, my hope is that it won't fit really well next year. So this should hopefully be too big for me and too big to take on the trail. So ideally, when you guys catch up with me and kind of tune back in for my final gear list next February, March, you'll see a little bit of a different jacket for that reason. Going down to sort of more of the base layer area, this is something really typical to what I would use to hike today. This is I think I got it from the Trek. It's just a cotton long sleeve t-shirt. I cannot wear enough cotton long sleeve t-shirts. I think it's from Comfort Colors is like the brand of how it's actually made. And I probably have at least 10 to 15 of that same exact thing, regardless of what, the design or the actual brand on it is. I love them. They're very comfortable. I usually wear them all year until it gets really hot in the summer. I think for me, this one is actually, I just bought it. This is a size down from what I have been wearing before. So this one's a little bit tight. Hopefully next to February, March, it wouldn't be. This is what I would normally wear and what I will definitely take with me on day hikes and overnight camping, things like that. But this is not going to be good for the Appalachian Trail. This soaks up water and moisture and doesn't let it go. And typically there are, issues with it being dirty. It does not smell great. It retains sort of almost like salt. So cotton just kind of soaks everything up and doesn't let it go. So I won't be taking one of these with me, but I do have another option for the base layer. This is closer to what I would actually take with me on the AT. This is a Smart Wool long sleeve base layer shirt. Really very nice and light. There's a couple features about this base layer that I like in particular. Because I'm going through this sort of change in size journey, I didn't want to buy too many pieces of clothing or too many articles of clothes before actually getting down to what I think my final weight and size will be. But I did want to try out a base layer top because things like chafing, ventilation are really important for a base layer. So I picked this shirt up from Smart Wool a couple of weeks ago at REI. You can see the back here, this dark color. This is actually sort of a ventilated back, which is really, really nice for those days where it gets a little bit hot and you still have a long sleeve base layer on, but you don't want to be sweating through the whole back of your shirt. So really nice feature there. I also like these snaps on the side. So you can see I could unsnap these if I like. This allows me to really roll that sleeve up. So great option for sort of that shoulder period between spring and summer when you're getting into the hotter weather, but you still don't want to throw a tank top on. And similarly from summer to fall where it's warm and it's starting to cool off and it might be time to switch into a long sleeve, but may not be time to put your puffy on or put any sort of a fleece on. So really, I'm liking this shirt so far. Again, I bought it a little bit tight in the hopes that my size is going to go down a little bit. This may or may not end up being the final version of a base layer for a top, but I really do like it so far. I am a solid leggings lover. I hike in leggings, I walk around in leggings, I live my entire life outside of my actual work office in leggings. I have a ton of different leggings and I have done a lot of sort of picking and choosing of the features that I like in leggings. These, for example, are a really good option. They are from a company called Girlfriend Collective. They're a really sustainable brand. They're made out of, I think they're made out of plastic bottles. So this is recycled material, which makes it great. It has some pretty decent compression, so it's nice and stretchy, but it does tend to keep itself where it needs to be, which is great if you're doing, you know, high impact activity. So really great pair of leggings. My primary complaints with these leggings are that they don't have a drawstring in the front of the pants inside. So it's just kind of relies on the compression. I think as I am hiking the Appalachian Trail, there's going to be some days where I probably want to like cinch my pants down a little bit. Maybe some days where I want to let that out a little bit depending on the situation. The other thing is that it doesn't have any pockets. There's like one mini pocket, you know, the typical runner's shorts or runner's leggings pocket in the back that does not zip and has no sort of closure. That is definitely not going to work for me on the AT. I have a couple pairs of leggings that could fit the bill. I do have specifically a pair of leggings from a company called Skirt Sports that has pockets, it has compression, and it has a drawstring. However, that being said, I have worn a bunch of those different leggings out. They have a couple different styles. I've tried them all and I've worn them out every single time. I actually got injured earlier this year because I had a hole appear right on the inner thigh of those leggings that I didn't notice, and it was started to get bigger halfway through a 12-mile walk, and I ended up skinning the inside of my thighs completely. And it was super painful, and that is not something that I'm willing to deal with on the AT. I'm sure I'm going to injure myself enough without having to deal with leggings. So that being said, what do I do about my bottom layer? What am I going to do about that? I have a thought. I am typically not a hiking pants person. I don't think I've ever owned a pair that successfully worked for me. Again, as a plus size woman, it's hard to find some of these things that normal size people consider staples of their hiking gear. It's actually really difficult to find hiking pants that aren't going to be too tight, but aren't going to be too loose, and they have some of the functionality that you're looking for. I just found these. I just picked these up. Hopefully you can see in the video. These are Prana pants. I don't remember how to pronounce the actual style of them, but they're pretty decent. They're pretty close to what I would be looking for. And I bought these to try them out for some shakedown hikes this spring and summer. So they have some pockets right here, which is great. They also have some snap pockets on the back. So they have two sort of back pockets, similar to, you know, a pair of slacks or a pair of jeans. In fact, they also have another zip pocket somewhere down the thigh. So that's kind of a nice feature as well, like almost a secret pocket. One thing I'm not jazzed about is that I can't find a good pair of convertible hiking pants. So these ones are not convertible. However, they do have almost a snap or a tie up on the sort of mid shin below the knee area where you can roll them up and then tie them there so that they stay there. So kind of a happy medium between no convertible at all and a fully convertible, you know, where you take a zipper, you unzip it and you make it into shorts. So I'm definitely going to try out these Prana pants, these hiking pants on a shakedown, and I'll let the group know, I'll let everybody know what I think of these pants when I try them out. I'm not going to show you the current bra and panties that I typically wear in my everyday, but assured to say that they are not appropriate to thru-hike the Appalachian Trail. Again, most of my underwear is either little tiny scraps of lace or it's cotton based. So again, soaking up that moisture and not really letting it go, not good for a thru hike. So I've done a bit of research into what I'm going to think about trying out before I get on the trail. and I'll keep the group updated. I will say from an underwear perspective, I think there are a couple of good options out there. From a sports bra perspective, that's a little harder for me. That's a bit of a challenge. I am a little chesty, honestly, and I have issues typically finding sports bras or other bras that will handle high impact and or be comfortable throughout a high impact workout and in fact over a couple of different days. The one brand that I have found so far is this right here, which is a She Fit sports bra. So hopefully that's kind of coming in clear from the video. It is a front zip and it has all these Velcro straps like this. So you can pull it, when you put it on, you can kind of pull it and make sure you're cinching that down in front. Same thing in back. It has a really big strap, Velcro strap in back here, so you can do the same thing. And it crisscrosses in the back if that's, you know, something that people are looking for. I don't particularly care as long as it's holding what it needs to hold together. So I like this. I think my only issue is that it doesn't have even any sort of underwire at all. Typically I do need an underwire, just again, because I'm a bit chesty. So I'm gonna take it on a couple of longer hikes. I've definitely done some shorter hikes with it. Sometimes I've even combined and done a normal bra and a sports bra. So I'll keep everyone posted about sort of my final thoughts around sports bra and underwear that I might wear on the AT. I think I did forget to talk about gloves. So that's kind of, I guess you can consider it an underwear layer or sort of a basic layer. I do have these really excellent gloves that, again, my sister bought me as a present this winter. I am a stubborn person, and so typically before now, I have not used gloves shoveling living in the Northeast, which is stupid and has always led me to be, you know, complaining coming in that my hands are freezing. So this year she got sick of it and she bought me these gloves. And at first, you know, I'm thinking, of course, there's no chance that the ones that you bought me happen to be the magical pair for the AT, but I changed my mind on that. These are great. I don't even know what brand they are. They're Head brand or something. I don't know. They are fabulous because part of the reason I hate gloves is that they're bulky. These are not bulky at all. They are really thin. You can definitely kind of grab and touch things. You can feel things with these gloves on. I really also like the grip. So there's a nice grip on that glove. And then they have touchscreen fingers too. So you can see that you can, if I needed to bring out my phone, get on gut hooks or something, I'll be able to use my hands with that. So that's most of the clothing that I'm going to either bring with me or think about replacing to bring with me on the AT. Just one more thing left. One of my favorite topics and everyone's favorite topic to talk about trail related is footwear. So I've put a lot of research into footwear because my feet tend to be one of the first places where I get injuries. I have an old stress fracture on this foot. I broke this ankle back in the day during sports injuries. And I also have kind of odd pinky toes that essentially fold under the toe next to it. So some of the skin usually gets pulled in, especially if I'm wearing a shoe with a smaller toe box. So when my toes get crunched together, that pinky toe does not appreciate it. So footwear is really important to me. I want to make sure that my hike is sustainable and I don't have to get off trail or do a lot of zeros because I have blisters or because my various injuries are acting up. So again, done a ton of research in what to do. For the pinky issue, I bought these, and these are Injinji socks. These are toe socks. Hopefully you can see on the video. These, I found out a couple weeks ago, are the thing that I'm definitely bringing with me. They are fabulous. They protect my toes from really friction between the toes. So they don't really rub against each other. So that's really fabulous. I very much like these. These ones in particular are the runners. So they're of a bit thinner material. I also do have a pair that are sort of trail hikers that are thicker and a little bit more meaty so that maybe they keep my feet warmer or what have you in those colder months. Aside from socks, talking about shoes. Shoes are a really important part of your gear selection for the Appalachian Trail. And I have read article upon podcast upon article about shoes and the different shoe selections that people tend to make. So I have a few things in mind. These right here are Ultras. And these are pavement runners or pavement walkers because I haven't bought a pair of Ultra trail runners yet. But I really like them. I very much like the zero drop technology of Ultras. They tend to help with my injuries. I also have really bad knees. So all of that combined, the zero drop is typically pretty helpful. So these ones just, you know, have a standard lace. You lace them up however you need to. And they fit pretty well. Another thing I like is the huge toe box. So hopefully you can see, this is kind of one of the other things that Ultras are famous for, is a massive toe box, which means this section here is wider than a typical shoe. So really like those. I think I probably would at some point before my hike try out a pair of the trail runners. The other shoe that I have on right here, this is the trail runner or, you know, hiker that I have been using for multiple years now. These are Salomons. They have stood up and held up really, really well. I love these hikers and I cannot say enough good things about them. I just haven't, you know, tested them over super long distances before. I have tested these over relatively long distances because of some of the fitness challenges that I'm doing. So these are great. One of my favorite features is how they tie. So if I just pull this and I cinch that down, that's tying it. It's tied now. And then the other thing is I can kind of take this little string, roll it up, and put it inside this part. So now it's all self-contained and I don't have anything like this floating around, picking up sticks, you know, freezing, let's say, if it gets cold and then they get wet, they're not going to freeze overnight. Everything just kind of goes in there. So really great trail hiker. I really very much enjoy these. I will say one thing that I'm not even considering is boots. So I know a lot of people who are either kind of old school and they just grew up hiking with boots, or they think that they need them because they want sort of more ankle support or something like that. I think that it's too much. I think the weight of these is great. I think especially for the Salomons, you know, they're really solid, they're really stable, and I don't feel the need for a boot at all. So these are some options. I will keep everyone posted about the other things that I'm trying out, but probably will be bringing either a pair of Salomons, maybe this pair of Salomons, or Ultras. Hey everyone, moving down into the kitchen, taking a little tour of the house today. Let's talk about some thoughts around food that I've had while prepping for the Appalachian Trail. Something to note before I dive into this is that eating for the AT is going to be a major adjustment for me personally. As I mentioned, I'm going through a bit of a fitness journey, a weight loss journey, and with that I have a fairly strict regimen that I'm following. I typically will only eat around 1,000 calories a day. If I do something like 12 miles or go for a really intense hike or do some really high impact workout, I might get somewhere up into the 1500s. My app tells me where I should be for the day and I kind of eat to that, and that's been working really well for me. One of the things that I read online was that I might have to eat up to like 4,000 to 5,000 calories on the AT depending on the day. That is going to be a ton of food and I'm not 100% sure how I want to handle that. What I do know is I don't want to put pure junk in my body. I think that would set me back and take me off of the path that I really want to be on for the AT. I cannot foresee myself just stuffing my face full of junk food. That being said, I realize that some of that highly processed food and even some of what I might consider to be junk food is what's going to be available to me on the trail as I try to resupply in town. So, you know, it's a little bit of a hard thing to think about. You know, I've gone so far as to research dehydrating my food or thinking about other sources of dehydrated food that I can get in bulk and then pack and ship to myself. One of the considerations is how much of a logistical effort that would be. And what I have researched and heard from people talking on podcasts and other social media tools is that some of the, especially along the AT where it has good logistical support and great availability of resupply, is that might be a lot more effort than it's worth. So again, that's something I need to think about, is whether I'm going to be dehydrating. At this point, I don't think so. My only pause there is that the person that I'm potentially hiking with is vegan, and he may have to do resupply anyway, just because he has some dietary restrictions. So he might have to do the boxes where he mails them. If he's doing that, I might do a little bit more of that than I thought I would. So those are kind of the items running through my head as I start thinking about this. But I've gathered up a couple of the typical snacks that I see in my house and how I can translate that into the trail. This is a classic, the ramen. So this, while it's in my house, I typically will make ramen without the flavor packet and do more of like a real ramen like you might find in a restaurant. So I'll put some steamed veggies with it and I'll put it in a nice broth that I make and things like that. I'm really only typically using this for the noodles. However, on the AT, this is probably going to be really convenient. It's very light. It's a trail staple. Everyone talks about ramen. Everybody talks about ramen bombs. I've never personally eaten mashed potatoes that didn't come from a potato. So I might try that out and see how that goes, if I like it texturally or what. But ramen, I'm sure at some point this will be in my pack. So that's ramen. Other considerations for more snack items are things like this. So I really like to snack on nuts. We have a bunch of these in our house, just kind of rolling around. This in particular is a 100-calorie pack of ones that have sort of like cocoa or chocolate coating. They're really delicious for like a post-dinner snack. If you're craving something chocolatey, these are really good because it's a little bit of a healthier option than just opening up that pint of Ben & Jerry's. So luckily, these are super light and easy to bring on the trail. The only problem is they're only 100 calories. So that's not gonna cut it for the vast majority of my day. Need to add in a lot of these if I'm gonna only be snacking on nuts. So that's a consideration. Other types of nuts that I have just, again, around my house, I have this big bag of cashews that I just found in my pantry. I really like raw cashews and raw nuts of any kind. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have some sort of a trail mix going or a big bag of nuts just in my pack at any given time, because that's something that I genuinely will like. I think for trail mix, there are also so many different options and so many different combinations that you can make yourself. I probably won't get bored of the trail mix, or that's what I'm telling myself sitting in the comfort of my own home. So nuts and snacks like that are definitely gonna be a staple for me, at least early on. Other snack things, I also love baked chickpeas. And so these are ones that I just have chilling around my house. Hopefully these would be something I can find on the trail. Typically they are in a grocery store in like the natural or healthy section. I really enjoy them. Again, they're not very calorically heavy, so I might have to rethink that, but from a taste perspective, and also they have a decent amount of protein in them because they're beans, I think those might work out. So I might try and pack out some of those as well. Other things that I've heard, this is through more research, is that people do bring things like cheese out on the trail. I was really surprised by this because you're thinking there's no refrigeration, what are you gonna do with the cheese? But a lot of people say that if you get a block of hard cheddar or something like that, it will last you a couple of days in your pack with no issue. That is a ray of hope to me. I love cheese. I'm a cheese fiend. I'm a little mouse, even though my name is Kat. And I'm really excited to bring some decent cheeses out on the trail. While I don't have any hard cheese today, I do have, just for show and tell, a little mozzarella stick. I love these. These are a huge part of my snack diet, so I usually have a couple of bags of these laying around in the fridge. Something that I'm considering is bringing out either pitas or tortillas. So people say for kind of a bread substitute and something to be able to spread items on or sort of pack up something and eat it out of that, pitas and tortillas, most commonly tortillas, are a decent option apparently. So that's also good. I like both of those options and I'm happy to put Nutella, peanut butter, or even something like hummus in those pitas or those tortillas. You are probably noticing a chickpea theme. I love chickpeas in their various forms. So would be definitely happy to have some hummus on the trail. Of course, the problem with hummus is it's really heavy. I mean, this is a small thing and I don't even know how much it weighs. It's quite heavy. That's a bummer. I don't want heavy things in my pack, so that's under consideration. The last food item that I've already really thought about is peanut butter. I love peanut butter in every form that it takes. I like raw peanuts. I like peanut butter. The only thing I don't really like is like super sugary peanut butters, just because that's not really my vibe. But this is my favorite, is the Teddy peanut butter unsalted crunchy. That is my absolute favorite peanut butter. I have like at least 3 of these in my pantry. I didn't have to go far to find one. So I'm a peanut butter fiend. I'm not taking a glass jar on the trail. I think that's gonna be a little bit too heavy. I think I found some in plastic jars at some stores, so I might research that a little bit and see if they're doing any plastic. It is what it is. The alternative is, of course, other types of peanut butter. They do have natural peanut butters that are not Teddy brand that are just in a plastic jar, so certainly would consider those, and I've started to try some out to see if I like them. Another great option though is PB powder. So I don't know if any of you folks watching or listening have used this before. This is really great, and this is kind of a new one that I haven't opened yet. But PB powder is super versatile. So you can put it into a lot of water and or add it into oatmeal or something like that. You can also put just a little bit of water and make almost like protein balls just by rolling it in your hands. So really pretty versatile food that is a substitute. It's not as good as like chunky natural peanut butter, but in a pinch it will certainly do, and it's certainly a lot lighter than a normal peanut butter that you would find in a jar. So those are some of my early considerations. I think the things that I don't have handy that I can't show you are things like breakfast foods. I'm definitely considering oatmeal. I'm not typically someone who eats oatmeal a lot. I will eat it in the winter if it's cold and I want something warm, but not something I need to necessarily cook for breakfast. So, you know, if I can just throw some water in the microwave and put it in the mug with my oatmeal, that's perfectly fine. I think my consideration for that is balancing protein and sugar. A lot of the oatmeal packets that you find in the store are full of sugar, and I have a hard time eating them, to be honest with you. So I think I've found a brand that's Kodiak that is a little bit better. It's specifically a high protein oatmeal, so I'll give that some thought. Otherwise, I mean, I probably will pack out some sort of protein powder. I've been drinking, putting in smoothies protein powder for years, and I don't mind it. I mean, texturally, it is what it is, but it's something that I'm already used to. So if I can just quickly throw some water and some protein powder into my Nalgene in the morning, shake it up and drink it, that's gonna be pretty fast for breakfast. Those are my sort of initial thoughts breakfast-wise. The other option certainly is bars, any type of breakfast bars or kind bars or anything like that. I'm sure I'm gonna have a bunch of those. I love granola bars, that's all good. So definitely look to see some of those in my pack as well. The one thing I'm not bringing with me for breakfast is coffee, which is very sad. I love my coffee. I drink coffee every day. A lot of times I'm drinking decaf espresso because I'm trying to limit the amount of caffeine that I take in because of insomnia and other things like that. But I love a good coffee and I love the ritual of it. I'm really gonna miss coffee, but I don't like instant coffee. I've tried a bunch of different ones. It's not my thing. If that's your thing, more power to you, but I just can't really, it doesn't do it for me. So I would rather not have coffee than kind of settle for that instant coffee. Now, if somebody were to make me a coffee on the trail, I would definitely say yes to that. But I think that's something I'm gonna sacrifice for the hike for the 6 months. Talking about dinners, I think this is the area where I'm having the most trouble and would certainly welcome anyone's suggestions. Obviously, there are some of those sort of freeze-dried meals out there. They come in the bags with sort of the, I don't know, Mylar or some sort of foil inside of them, so you can pour the hot water in and it just makes it. That seems like a great option, except those are usually really expensive. So I've done a bunch of research around like Mountain House and some of those other brands, typically really expensive per meal, and that's somewhat more than I really want to pay. So again, I've been thinking about what about dehydrated foods, kind of doing my own thing and dehydrating them and packing them. Again, my concerns are logistics, and also if I get sick of something, if I make myself, 6 weeks of some meal that I end up hating, then I'm just gonna be miserable and not happy. So dinner is definitely an open question. I will say, I mean, I love mac and cheese. Regular, Kraft mac and cheese is fine for me for, junk food binge it's always a good option. Annie's mac is always great. So things like that, I'm definitely willing to eat some pasta. I've heard a lot of people say that Knorr rice sides are a great option, so I might dig into that and look into those a little. I've certainly cooked with them before, just at home if I don't want to make a big rice thing from scratch or what have you. But yeah, if anyone has any suggestions for dinners that are a little bit on the healthy side, a little bit on the less expensive side, please do feel free to add a comment. I would definitely love to see what other people have done. Thanks so much everyone for watching this video where I talked a little bit about the clothes and food that I'm thinking about for the AT. Absolutely welcome any comments. Please subscribe if you want to keep seeing this ongoing journey.